Hello, friends, and thanks for dropping in. So, I've been talking about the stress response and our relationship to media, and I wanted to talk a little bit more about this topic because I do think it's important. And I also wanted to add another bit. I've been talking about how we're oftentimes walking around in the world with a lot of fear, a lot of anxiety, a lot of stress that may be not necessary. It may actually be optional, a lot of this stress and anxiety that we're walking around in. And the other thing I wanted to talk about is anger, because anger and fear are sort of like two sides of the same coin. They're both connected to the stress response in different ways. They both have a purpose. Like these emotions evolved for very important reasons. Fear, of course, is what we need to alert us that we need to get out of harm's way. That's pretty obvious, right? But I was talking last time about how perceived threats often keep us in a state of fear, even when there's nothing to actually fear. Anger is also an emotion that serves a purpose. So if fear is the flight response, then anger is the fight response. And there are many different reasons that anger is important. It's a sign of there has been a violation or there's been an injustice of some kind. It's the impulse to want to protect oneself or protect others. So oftentimes it's sticking up for your boundaries, or again, it's standing up for yourself. Whether there's been an injustice or you feel there's going to be one. So anger serves an important purpose. But similar to fear, it's an emotion that a lot of people are walking around in a lot. And it's not serving its fundamental purpose. It can be channeled in very positive ways. I mean, activism is a very positive way that it can be channeled. Marching is a great outlet for anger. Going out and letting your voice be heard, that's a great outlet for anger. And yet, a lot of times the anger persists once the march is over. So, when rumination sets in and you find yourself stewing in anger more than is healthy or necessary, then that's when it becomes problematic. And I see a lot of anger on social media specifically. There's a lot of ranting, there's a lot of outrage, there's a lot of rage. And I would say that this is a form of stewing, ruminating, getting caught up in a habit of anger, a line of thinking that actually doesn't have it's not being channeled in a positive way. It's just being spewed at people or about people in a way that's not helpful to both the spewer and the people that are being blamed, the victims of the outrage. So what this is resulting in, well, it's a lot of noise for one thing, and you could say, well, it's harmless noise in a sense. But if you really think about the fact that we live in a toxic society, and we're not going to heal the world through toxic emotions and decisions and actions made out of toxic emotions. And when I say, the purpose or the use of anger is standing up for oneself, right? Advocating for oneself. I would say that's a healthy way to use or channel anger. But just channeling anger because you feel angry all the time and you're spewing that out of the world towards other people, that's not helping anyone. That's not actually helping create understanding. It's not helping anyone evolve. It's not solving any problems. And so this use of anger, I think, is a toxic one. And it's become this ever-present feeling on social media, at least a lot of social media, certainly Facebook and Twitter. I see it a lot. And it's not solving any problems. If we actually want to heal the world, we have to start within, looking at our own feelings, looking at how we're perpetuating certain beliefs and feelings, and being curious about how we might change the landscape. Now, again, I'm not saying that certain anger is not justified, but what I am saying is that spending a lot of time in that state of mind is actually not helping to reach an outcome. So recognizing where you might be abusing anger, your own anger, is something else to think about. We human beings are most creative problem solvers when we are in calm, accepting, loving states of mind. When we are in a state of mind that is coming from compassion, we're going to be able to see solutions more clearly. When we are calm and clear-headed, we're going to be able to find what seems like miracles for what might seem like an extremely complicated set of problems that we have in this world today. The fact of the matter, though, is that the solutions to today's problems they might not be as complicated as the problems themselves. When we're able to step back out of our anger, out of our fear, that's when we're able to see possibility for coming together, possibility for listening to each other. So one of the reasons that I started my online community was as an antidote to this toxic social media culture in which there's just so much ranting and negative opinions and name calling and blaming, and it's not helping. It's not helping, guys. In fact, it's creating more problems because it's getting us further away from each other and further away from solutions. And I wanted to create a space in which we could get back to a place of nourishing thoughts, nourishing our inside world so that we can find solutions, not just for ourselves, but for the world, for the problems of the world. But healing the world starts with healing ourselves. And that also begins with what kind of quality of thought are we living in? What is our internal landscape? Is it a beautiful garden? Or is it a haunted house? So if you want to spend more time in the beautiful garden, then I invite you to join me in Joie de Vivre, because that is what I'm creating there. It's a space to be nourished and replenished so that you might see some possibilities for yourself and for the world. Well, thanks a lot, and I hope to see you next week. Till then, have a wonderful week.